All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we have been telling you, A&E has welcomed Phil Robertson back to Duck Dynasty less than 2 weeks after suspending him, putting him on indefinite hiatus for remarks he made both about gays and African Americans. Joining us now is the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your reaction to this, I assume you just got word about this. I know that you were looking for a meeting with A&E, so how do you feel about what they've done?
Well, I did not feel good about it. Mr. Robertson's language was hurtful and painful to many people. We should not do that to each other. And at a time when we're trying to find common ground and ways to live together, this is a very divisive statement he has made, and he's been rather unrepentant. When people make mistakes, and people do make mistakes, you should be repentant and contrite and then seek forgiveness. He stands by his position. I would hope that we would be sensitive to the incendiary race and gay remarks and keep working continuously for learning how to live together and with real mutual respect one for the other.
They said in their statement, they reacted quickly and strongly to the recent interview, and while Phil's comments made in the interview reflect his personal views based on his own beliefs and his personal journey, he and his family have publicly stated they regret the coarse language that he used and the misinterpretation of his core beliefs based on the article. He also made it clear he would never incite or encourage hate. And they say that Duck Dynasty is not a show about one man's views. It resonates with a large audience. It's a show about a family that America has come to love. You have problems with that wording from A&E?
Well, I do not, but I do think that he ought to address more directly the affected people. He talked about how happy blacks were on the segregation, how the civil rights movement interfered with their happiness. The fact is, Rosa Parks was not happy and was arrested. Dr. King was not happy and was bombed and stabbed on this journey. When I went to jail at 19, I was not happy trying to use the public library. When the babies were blown up trying to do their Sunday school in church because of racist propaganda, there was no happiness in the place. This is a very painful statement. I hope that he will work diligently, make it clear to people that he did not embrace these views. These views are not acceptable, and they are not true.
And A&E says that they will use this moment to launch a national public service campaign promoting unity, tolerance, and acceptance among all people. And they also said that they had discussions with the Robertson family as well as consulting with numerous advocacy groups before making this decision. Had they consulted with you, and I know you were seeking a meeting, what would you have advised them? Would you have spoken out against this decision, advised them not to reinstate Phil Robertson next spring, or what?
Well, we've talked with them, but we were not at all conclusive, and I think many of the groups that feel offended by what has been said will continuously to express their disgust and to express their pain. I would like to think that Mr. Robertson ought to be more repentant and contrite as he seeks to convince people that these statements are not his own, because the period of racial segregation legally was so painful and so oppressive and so dangerous and so violent and so hurtful. So many people denied their basic American rights. My father came from World War II and had to sit behind Nazi prisoners of war because he was a black with an American uniform with the flag flying gently above his head. It was not a happy time, and it was a very dangerous and bloody time. So I think the protest about people saying, be sensitive to other people's pain. That's no more, no less. Be sensitive. And this statement has caused lots of pain to lots of people.
One more for you, Reverend. Will you be seeking any further explanation from A&E, seeking any further meetings with A&E, launching any campaign to protest the show against A&E or anything?
Well, I'm sure that the groups involved in an expanding coalition will have something to say collectively. I don't have anything else to say myself, except that I would hope that Mr. Robertson and A&E would just realize that They're using their power in this instance to misread just how painful the statements are and what they represent. I hope he'll learn from the reaction of people.
All right. Reverend Jackson, thank you so much for making the time. I appreciate that. Okay. Reverend Jesse Jackson weighing in, ladies and gentlemen. Not happy about the Duck Dynasty being, the suspension against Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty being lifted by A&E. That was, I will venture to say, in fact, I know for certain, the first interview given by Jesse Jackson exclusively here to myself on Newsmax TV and to Newsmax TV with his response to the lifting of the suspension of Phil Robertson. Very interesting, and I'm sure this is not the end of it. I'm sure we will hear more, maybe from Reverend Jackson himself and groups he represents, or a coalition, as he indicated at the end there. But it's interesting. And it is, and I think it goes back to what Mike Baker said in the previous segment, former covert CIA agent, now TV show host himself, that he's kind of fascinated that this is breaking news, that this is what we're talking about. But this has been the conversation, a big part of the national conversation, because it cuts down on it. There's so many levels of conversation to be had based on what Robertson said. About not only his views on gays, but what he said about blacks, and also the reaction by A&E, and the reaction to the reaction by A&E, and sponsors' reaction, and then backtracking after they reacted, and now A&E backtracking after they reacted. You can write a thesis on this. You can get a master's degree studying all the different levels of what went into this and what this means on a societal level, to a freedom of speech level, to a religion level, to a acceptance level, the whole thing. And we try to do that here. Okay, folks, have a great weekend. It's been a fun week. Merry Christmas to all those who still celebrate. We'll see you Monday on the Steve Malzberg Show.